I need all my scammer niggas, bring that cash out.
Hello, Gaia.
Hey.
Hi, Lex. Hi, V. Hi, Goddesses. How are y'all?
Good.
Amazing. You are officially our first visual guest in a regular studio.
Yes.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yes.
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 How are you?
I'm great. I am good. I've been busy. I think that's what everyone could probably say.
period.
Even with like the pandemic happening, you're still in a space of like keeping up with the shit that you can do outside. You're like, how do I overcompensate inside of the house?
Yeah.
So it's been a lot of that. On top of that, it's 3 other women in the house that do sex work. So it's like constantly a space of like chaos going on.
Yeah.
So yes. So
I would like to circle back to that.
Oh yes, I would like you to. But I am constantly in a space of like just trying to keep. I in the space. I'm like very much like a mother energy.
Yes.
Like, I love y'all. I want y'all to be healthy. I don't want your toxic energy to corrupt the rest of the space. How can I help you neutralize all this?
I want to circle back to that too.
Yes, okay. so I think overall I have been learning how to deal with that, offer that, and still keep my sanity, which I've been failing at pretty miserably. But that's great because now I'm in a space of like recognizing where I am weak and where I don't have boundaries.
Right.
And like now it's like reestablishing. So I remember when we did our body dysmorphia conversation, I talked a lot about like I have an issue with boundaries. Like I don't not that I disrespect other people's boundaries. I was telling this to Mystique yesterday. I am like overly consumed with making sure I stay in check with other people's boundaries just because how much mine have been like trespassed against. So it's like when it comes to other people's boundaries, I'm like overly like just aware. I'm so sensitive to the point sometimes where we'll be shooting a scene and it will be in the middle of the scene. If I feel a girl's energy shift, I'll be like, you don't have to do this if you don't want to.
Right.
Yeah.
And he's like, bitch, we're filming. And I'm like, I need to make sure she's okay.
Yeah.
But when it comes to me, I don't know how to stipulate those boundaries for myself. Because it's like I don't want people to ever be afraid to be honest with me about how they feel.
Right.
So it's I don't want them to stop because they're concerned about me.
Yes.
It's like if you feel something, say it. I don't care how I
Wow.
feel. Say that.
So I have so many directions we could go with this. So we literally just did an episode talking about like people pleasing and like what the result of being on the receiving end of that is, and like how difficult it is to navigate that because you're. So what it sounds like, right, is like you're the people pleaser kind of thing, making sure everyone's okay. But then that sometimes means you not showing up in a way that's authentic, which means me not being able to navigate you in an authentic way because I'm trying to just do what you're doing. But I'm like, bitch, what the fuck are we doing? So it's very confusing.
Exactly.
Very
Interesting.
Yes.
So many. Where should we start? Okay. Where do you want to? Do you have a preference?
I have no preference. I'm open. I'm open as fuck.
Okay.
I would like to say I don't do podcasts, so I am open for you though.
Interesting.
Like this is not. I was very nervous, but I was like, I also love them, and I know I'm
Oh
gonna
my
say
God, so nervous.
Y'all be eating people up in this bitch. They don't be here, but when y'all talk about things, it's always in a space of like, damn, like I don't want to do anything problematic.
We wouldn't invite anyone on the show.
Right. We were just saying that. We were just saying we would never invite anyone on the show that we did not feel comfortable with or agreed with or
we had a whole conversation around like, what if we invited some people who maybe were problematic, and what would happen if they were here, and how it would go down, and it would not go down successfully.
We'd be throwing mics and shit. Shoes would be flying.
I think the one thing is, and this goes back to what we talked about on a previous episode, is where I feel like I at least, and maybe we agree, would also want to make space for people who we do love and respect to say things that are fucked up, and then us be like, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Because like that's a learning opportunity versus like somebody coming in with like, fuck women, and we're like,
that's what I feel like I go through every time I'm on this show. Like that's why I love doing this. That's why I'm with you for life because I know that none of us are perfect. Like there's none of us are perfect. So I get a different point of view. I get it that I respect, that I trust, that I know is coming from a place of love, right? And so like please. All of you here, if anything, tell me, let me know, just because I won't ever change if I don't have people who love me and care about me actually telling me the truth. So
for sure,
I need that.
Real.
And this is creating safe spaces.
Yeah.
So let's circle back to the house.
Which is a very safe space. Like, honestly, we don't let niggas in the spot. It's literally Julius is the only dick that's allowed in the house for the most part.
Good.
There's really. Everyone has their own space.
Yes.
It's a big ass backyard.
Yes.
It's a garden. It's like, so everyone has space to do what they want and need to do.
Yeah. And there are lots of you. Like, so you mentioned there's 3 other girls and everyone's doing sex work. What feels like the hardest part of that?
I think the hardest part of that is lack of organization. It's really hard to get 4 different, because like Be Nasty is like an honorary member, how she's there like every other weekend. So it's really like when we all plan to do stuff, it is really hard to get everyone to do things at the same time. Like it's, I think because of like the Miami trip had me spoiled, bitch. Like, you did all of the like background work. So it when we showed up, we just showed up and we were like, okay, this is what we're doing today. The itinerary is already done. When it comes to like doing that in a house that you live in, people are kind of already so comfortable in that space that it doesn't feel like a workspace.
Right.
So it's like, okay, well, do we get an Airbnb? But then you get the Airbnb and then no one's available that week. So it's like, it's been a lot of just like trying to figure out how do I manipulate a situation so that everyone can be available, wants to be available, and shows up to perform and show out. Like that has been hard to get everyone on the same energy because periods, because life, because niggas, because horniness, because you know what I'm saying? So it's like sometimes it's real hard to get everyone on the same page. Like coexistence is like,
and then like does it actually happen? Like does it actually exist for that to be, you know, because I just don't think so. I just don't think there's a way for it to be perfect, especially when there's so many people. When it's more than 2 people, and even when it's 2 people, because we see how hard relationships and things like you know, even when it's like when it's not just you and you have to worry about everything else, there's no way that everyone is going to be fully accommodated.
Absolutely.
That is impossible. And like I do a podcast of my own that I started, and you know, big kudos to you because like you are from the outside looking in, have made things not look so easy. That's not the right term, but you've just like executed it so flawlessly that it feels like, you know what I'm saying? But being in that space of doing it yourself, and I have 5 other women that I'm trying to get involved, and to all of us have the same schedule, impossible. Like, and so it literally got to the point where like, well, if you can't make it, you missed out. Like you missed out, and that's just what it is because I have a schedule I have to keep to.
Right.
And once again, the theme of the segment is worry about yourself.
Yeah. That is correct.
And if you can, you know, if you can add to this, I appreciate that. That is the icing on the cake. But if you cannot, I'm sorry.
That's my problem. I can't worry.
Is that where you're motherly? Because you said that trying to keep everyone on the
worry
same
about
page.
I'm worried about everybody else.
Trying to keep everybody on schedule.
Making money? Are you making money? Did you make a video today, bitch?
Yeah.
Have you put anything up today? What is going? What's your money at?
Right.
Like, that's how I don't say it like that, of course. Yeah. But in my heart, I know they know that's what I mean. Like, but did you put some up today? Did you post today? Did you do anything today? Like,
I don't want to be intrusive, and I would like to ask, where do you think that started for you?
Oh, that's childhood shit. Yeah. I come from a Latin family, so the women are even though the men hold the power, the women are the ones that uphold what's going on in the household. So it's like men are out doing whatever the fuck they want to, but it's like you're the oldest daughter or you're the available daughter.
You're
go clean, go watch them, go wash everybody up. So it's just like that has been engraved in me. My older sister was like out at 13 tricking, like she was out living her best life. So, but I watched that and that created fear in me of like, I don't want to fail. I don't want to let my mom down. I want to graduate high school. I don't want to have a kid before 15.
So there's the people pleasing.
Exactly. So it's like, and that was also like pushed heavily in the household where it's like, your sister failed. She fucked up.
Right.
My dad was a Marine. He was also an English major and teacher. So it's a lot of sternness that came from that. And like, even though my mom and my dad didn't stay together, you can tell she was 17 when they got married. He was 21. So that energy was engraved in her. She was raised by a Marine. So she had that in her, but she also had the disrespect of coming from New York. So it's like, it's a lot of ruthlessness in her. So when she said things to me, it didn't come across like very loving or tender. It was like, no, bitch, this is your obligation. You do this shit. Don't question me. I'll beat your ass. Like, it was so, that's just kind of how I grew up. Now it's kind of normalized to where it's like, even when people are talking to me and it's aggressive, I feel like it's normal. And Julie would be like, bitch, that's not normal. That's not talk to you like that. And I'd be like, okay, I should probably learn how not to accept this energy. So, that's just the normal. It's just how I've been that way my whole life. There's 5 siblings from my mother and then 2 additional siblings from my father. And I was dead in the middle. My older sister and brother bailed. So then that left me, my younger sister, my younger brother. And when my sister had her baby, we got my nephew too. So I was raising everyone else's kids when I should have been like 12 years old, you know? So,
and I feel that pressure because I'm the oldest in my family, and my mom passed away when I was 11. So, and I had 2 younger siblings, and that's how I was 11, cooking, cleaning, like trying to get everybody to do their homework, do all this shit, trying to make sure I still have straight A's, because if I slipped up, they're like, why are you slipping up? So I totally feel that pressure. Like, it's a lot.
Yeah.
It was a lot.
And it has shifted. I'm sure it's shifted you in ways too. I feel like now you're in a space. I think you've done what I want to do. You have been like, I abolish this energy.
I'm in
not
a space
with this shit.
No, listen. When I tell you, I don't care what they have. Listen, I don't speak about me. Don't speak to me. Don't say anything. What I'm doing, let me live my life. Like, I have like completely like separated myself from the pressure of trying to like please them and make sure that I do what they want me to do. Because if it was up to them, I'd be married with like 10 kids right now.
What was that process like though, going from that?
It was being broke and realizing that I was going to school and trying to become a nurse to please them. I was not doing what I wanted to do for me.
Right.
And so I was working a dead end job. I was going to school, doing all these things to look good for my family.
Yeah.
Whatever that means, right? Because I feel like I feel like I'm very proud of myself. I'm proud of everything that I've done. I don't regret shit. So it's like, for me, I had to sit down and it's like, do I really want to do this? No, I don't want to do this. I don't. I always looked up to like sex work and sex workers and what they did and everything. So to me, it was like, this is what I want to do. So I just said, fuck it. And I started doing that shit. And it was like, whatever. If y'all don't accept it, that's cool. If you do, that's even better. Then I know you guys really do care about me. Because you actually do. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
it's so interesting because I feel like each of us has some kind of childhood experience or early experience that informs what our habits are and our self-perception and our attitudes and beliefs currently.
Yeah.
And I guess when I work with like therapy clients, what I like to say to them at least is like, let's celebrate that part of you, because even though it is now no longer really serving you and is annoying and takes up space or whatever the case may be, it came out of survival, right? So like needing to take care of everybody and make sure they're okay, it's because someone passed away and someone needs to take that responsibility. And unfortunately, there wasn't another adult there to help out. So it was a survival thing. Same thing for you, right? So it's like our coping mechanisms and things that become frustrating were born out of this like survival space, which it's like, let's take a second to like honor that.
Because wow, you did it. You did it. And you can do that. And the fact that you even had the ability, I feel like, to be 11, to be 12, you know, and to take care of your whole family. Wow, what the fuck? Like a lot of people, I have never had to deal with anything like that. You know what I'm saying? I never had to do anything like that, take care of anybody but myself, you know? And so, amazing. Like, it's just amazing that you know, can happen. And
I was fighting with them all the time. Oh my God. Me and my sister should be like, your food is nasty. I'm like, I'll throw it. Like, what kind of that bitch? Right? Don't eat shit then. Like, my food is nasty. It was nasty.
And also like being a younger person, and we're in the middle of like trying to just develop our sense of self. And so there's this other piece of like that so much of it is around wanting to feel affirmed, wanting to feel safe, wanting to have intimacy with people around us, wanting to be validated, wanting to be accepted, wanting to be loved, supported, all the things. So in part, not only is it survival because someone actually does have to do the thing and you're like, fuck it, I'll just do it. There's also, I want to be validated for this. I want to be seen and supported for this. I want someone to affirm, hey, you're doing a good job. And typically we don't fucking get that.
Absolutely
but
not.
that is also what like motivates the behavior, because it's like maybe someone will notice at some point.
Notice that I'm doing all these things.
Correct. And then that at some point, it stops being a survival mechanism. It stops being a thing that you need to do.
Right.
And that's when it kind of moves over into it's no longer serving me. It's a habit. It's something that's difficult for me to break out of. And when either you do or don't figure out how to like shift that. And it is fucking hard because, again, it's not just I do this thing. It's a thing I do. It's like, here is my past, all of the things associated with it, which are also really emotionally heavy things. And things centered around like my sense of self and identity and who I am and what my role is and what I'm supposed to do and what makes me feel like I'm being useful and whatever else. So it's a lot and hard and heavy.
A whole lot. Definitely. Looking at yourself and like you said, your past, that memory reel of all the shit that you've been through and just evaluating it and reflecting. And it's a never ending cycle. Like I don't think anyone ever fully masters that, because different situations come into play at any time and trigger that long thing from that long time ago. And then then that's when you really have to take that time and look back and remember and think about, how did this work when I did this before? How did this work when I didn't do this before?
Right.
And like, it just never ends.
Yeah.
We're always working on ourselves, like always.
That's why the house has been helpful for me, though. It's because all of these things,
bringing everything to the forefront.
I'm so fucking triggered.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, either I react like irrationally and everybody in this house thinks I'm a stupid bitch, or I figure out how to like communicate, which has always been very hard for me because, like I said, my mom, her background, even though she has grown up in America, she lived in Puerto Rico for years. So it's like a lot of her English has been broken, and like when she says things to me, it's not like the proper way to say things.
Right.
So then when she got married to my father, he was an English major, so it was a lot of him correcting her a lot, which also kind of creates like this weird energy of like everything she says is wrong.
Yeah.
So, and now it's like I'm in a space where it's like now I feel like everything I'm saying is wrong because I say things like she says it, and then people don't receive it the right way.
Yeah.
So it's been a lot of me just having to stop and be like, okay, how can I word this, or how can I explain it to them so that they understand that I, one, am struggling with communication, which I say every time. I'm like, I'm struggling with communication. If I say anything to offend you, let me know so I could try to rephrase it so it doesn't come across negatively. So, but it's been a lot of that where it's just like the house when I grew up in was always clean. So it's like when you're living with a bunch of women.
I'm also a clean freak.
Yeah.
I get very uncomfortable when things are not where they need to be, which is why when Julius was just at the house and they cleaned up, I was like, thank you for putting things back where they were. Because I feel personally attacked when people come to my house and like even leave a little thing there. I'm like, why the fuck? This is my space. Like, what do you do something with it?
And that's the part. It's not my space no more.
Right.
I share
and holy fuck, this is why I don't live with people.
Exactly. So, and that's also the thing too. I've never, like me and Julius, we've always been in a space of like having roommates, or it's always been a model we're training. So they're practically living people, like where we see them every day. So we've never really had a space where it's been us. So now I find myself being like, okay, I'm 33. I'm still repeating a lot of the things that are making me uncomfortable. When do I ask for my own space? When do I set boundaries where I can just be what I want to be without worrying about other people? That's why I moved away from Michigan. It's like, I don't want to be with my family because every time I am, they pull me into whatever that space is. And it's like, I want my own space.
Yeah.
But it's also like, but I love them and I want to be around them and I want to be a part of everything. So it's like, also the fear of missing out is also stopping me from growing independently. So that's something else I'm struggling with. It's like,
yeah, it's a hard thing. What do you think? Like, what kind of boundaries do you think that you need to set in order to start shifting some of that?
I have to be okay with saying no.
Yeah.
I already know. Like my best friend, since she lives in the house, and she's like, you just have to practice saying this doesn't work for me. And she's been saying this to me for about 4 years, and I still don't say this doesn't work.
What's the hardest part of saying no?
Feeling like I'm disappointing someone. It's mostly it's people pleasing. You're absolutely right when you said that. I feel like when I watch people and just being in the industry for as long as I have, most people don't get what they want. Like most people are really struggling with, one, saying what the fuck they want, and then two, actively pursuing it. Yeah. So it's like if someone is coming to me for something that I know I can help them with, who am I to block that blessing if I know I can give it to them? Right. And then it's like, but bitch, bless yourself. Take a nap.
It's also so interesting because sometimes our behaviors are things that we wanted people to do for us, right? So I see a lot of that in you too. Like you're doing all of these things for people in a way that ultimately like is fucked up for you, but you're trying to take care of them because you're like, where's the reciprocity? Like, so I wanted this. No one's giving me this. So let me make sure that I'm showing up in this way so often. Yeah. My other question for you is, and I think as I hear you talking about it and as we generally think about it, and as you pointed out, like taking the time to think about what's the memory reel and whatever is when I talk to therapy clients, I ask them to figure out like what is the body sensation associated with whatever the negative emotion is. Because that's typically what we avoid is what are the internal voice that's connected to the thing or the meaning and messages we associate with it or the intrusive thoughts and the body sensations. So I'm wondering, is there like a specific feeling or something that comes up for you when you experience I've disappointed someone?
It's always guilt. Guilt is the first thing. And then it's like a space of like.
Do you feel that in your body?
Yes.
Like, is there a specific place you're like, it's in your chest or it's like in your back?
It's the whole upper body.
Yeah.
It would just be
and
like.
It's uncomfy.
Weight like on me where it's like. like breathing becomes hard. I'm like throwing mini tantrums. Like I'm taking it out on I love you. like whoever I feel, and it's always he's the only person that I really feel so comfortable with that there's no filter. So he gets the blunt end of it a lot. But overall, I connect myself with being an empath. Like I don't care what anybody says. When someone's energy shifts in the room, I know exactly what happened. Like and that I don't know how to control
and
that's
a trauma response too. Being very keenly aware of how people's energies are shifting because you've got to be like, all right, bitch, now let me.
Right.
Bitch, break me down.
But like, you see, recently I've been feeling that too, right? I've been feeling that too. But then I'm like, is it good or is it bad that I recognize that? Because then I just kind of have to figure out how to feel myself. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like when I feel people's energy shift, it's like, how do I move so that and you know I always say I be feeling very selfish a lot of times, but it's just like I be trying to figure out, okay, I feel your energy shift. So how do I move so that I am not affected, so that my energy doesn't shift in the wrong direction? Like how do I make sure that I do not tap into what they are giving? And it's like
honestly, I feel like what you started talking about around the shift that you were able to make with your family, which sounds like it was by accident because it was like, I'm broke, I'm doing something I don't want to do, boom, I'm gonna switch. That's like differentiating yourself from other people and family, friends, whomever. And that process starts the emotional process of being able to be autonomous and separate in your emotions versus others. Because sometimes, again, as a trauma response, we mirror others' emotional reactions or we predict or respond to their emotions. So the differentiation is you can be upset. That's valid. You can scream. You can do a tantrum. You can call me a bitch. You can break a fucking glass. I'm okay.
Yeah. And I feel like that's how I react a lot of the times with my family. Like they will feel very like passionately about something. And if I don't feel the same way, I will just like, I don't feel it. Like I'll just be like, okay.
Now the other thing there though is you have to separate and learn how to differentiate between the differentiation piece, which is like, my feelings don't rely on or are not prefaced by your feelings. So that versus like dissociating, which is like, I'm tapping out because this is too much. So I'm going to go in la la land and I don't feel anything now. And that can look a number of ways, but like figuring out how to separate the two. And again, dissociation is fine too, because that's also a survival response.
Exactly.
This is too much. This is too scary. This is too whatever. I need to go. My brain needs to protect myself.
Yeah.
So it's fine. And figuring out the difference between the two is like really important because the goal would be the differentiation, which is do your thing. I'm here to hold space. Also, I can't be impacted by the way that you're feeling. And this is how I'm feeling. And I'm able to communicate how I'm feeling in a way that I'm allowing you to respond to how I'm communicating to you. And it's not going to affect me and like spiral my fucking day out.
Yeah.
So there's like also
such a thin line.
That difference.
It's just like such a thin line to border.
Yeah. But it requires, and the reason that I asked, do you have a body sensation associated with it and where do you feel in your body is because that's how you start the process of figuring out the difference. Because if you're not having body sensations, that means you're dissociating. That means you're not present. You're not doing the thing.
Right.
So starting with literally like, where do I feel this in my body?
Why is it here? Why is it all
always
here?
Like in your chest and your throat?
Oh my goodness. Like, this is not related, but related. I went to the George Floyd memorial and like literally walked, they have the whole street blocked off and everything. And like literally I felt fine, but walking right into the space where it happened, like my chest was so tight and so heavy. And like, that's the feeling that I get when things are like, I don't know, when I feel.
What did you do in that moment when you felt it?
I sat there for a while and I tried to breathe like through it because at first I wasn't sure what the hell was happening.
Yeah.
And I sat there for a while and I tried to breathe through it and that just really wasn't working. Like the energy was just so heavy in that space. I had to walk away. There was no other way and it was just the craziest thing. As soon as you got right to that area, it's just, and even when I walked away the opposite way and had to walk back and when I walked back through it, I still felt it. And it's like,
and that might be some spirit shit separate from just like dissociation and empathy.
But I just, the body association of that feeling, that in your chest is Crazy.
So you felt it. And that's good because that is a practice. And you tried to breathe through it. And then you also recognize, I actually don't have the skills for this in the moment.
Right.
I'm going to walk the other way.
Yeah.
But that's good because the opposite of that would have been you're feeling nothing.
Yeah.
You're walking up to this incredibly moving, heavy, whatever, and feel nothing.
Right.
Like that's the dissociation piece. And the fucked up part is the body sensations suck. That feeling fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Like feeling things, feeling the feeling of guilt in your body, that fucking sucks. I have a disappointment thing too. When I feel disappointed, not when I disappoint people, it feels like shit. I hate it. So I avoid it. But the whole thing is when you avoid the body sensation and the feeling and the emotions and all that, you don't get to learn how to tolerate it.
Right.
You don't get to learn how to build the muscle to be like, I'm okay that I disappointed someone or that someone disappointed me.
Yeah.
I'm okay. Because when we avoid it, we don't get to build that fucking muscle. So it's good that you sat in it. It's good that you're recognizing where you feel it because that's literally good that you're fucking moving away from how your family is emotionally responding and you being like separate. That's good stuff.
Yeah. And you have also been talking about how you're separating your boundaries and how you're stepping into that. And kudos to you. Look
Thank you.
4 women on a fucking mission.
Yes.
I love it.
Yes. So then my next question would be, have you recognized when it does feel safe to set boundaries, meaning the person has done something that makes you feel safe or you've done something that creates safety in the space to be like, no, or to set whatever kind of boundaries?
Absolutely. Like that has been the practice in the house. It's like, I moved into the house knowing from just like prior experiences that like I have communication issues.
Mm-hmm.
So when things do bother me, I tend to introvert it, internalize it, and then overanalyze it.
Mm-hmm.
And then it always I create narratives in my mind sometimes that just aren't really healthy.
It's so easy.
Yeah.
What do you do with those?
I
like just
fuck
let
my
them...
day up. Honestly, I was just telling this to my sister because I was listening to her. And I was like, "Wow, she does what I do." I was like, "You're creating narratives. You should write stories." No, I should write stories.
Yeah, I was literally gonna say, if you write them down.
I do, but I haven't since I got into sex work because it's just like all of my creative energy is like
into sex work.
Pushed into sex work of like, but
it doesn't have to be creative. It could literally just be, this is the worst case scenario. So for me, I think of like Final Destination worst case scenarios.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not thinking of like boundary setting shit. I'm like, I'm gonna get into this car and then go behind a truck that has wood on it, and then they're gonna slam on the brakes, and my head is gonna be bashed in. So I have to literally lean into that. Yeah. Let it flow through, like let it be a thing, and then feel what is. How do I feel? I'm scared. I'm worried I'm gonna die. I'm worried I'm gonna die because I have things I still want to do. That's the. Write it down. So it doesn't have to be like a story, literally like creative narrative. Just let it, and then you're there, and then you're like, bitch, that's ridiculous.
It's crazy how you can go through all those emotions like this, but it feels like while you're trying to process all of that, it's like feels like hours are going by in that moment. But it can really it happens very quickly when you make that decision once you've mastered it and once you get, or maybe not even mastered it, but once you start using it, but it's like, it's a lot of steps to go through, and you kind of in a situation like that, you don't have that much time to make that decision. Life.
But the real thing I feel like I just tell people is lean into it.
Yeah,
and then when you need a break, take a break, lean out, and then lean back in. Because again, the whole piece is you have to feel it in order to start processing it, in order to start building the muscle to be able to better tolerate it.
Right.
So lean in, feel what is the scariest shit ever. Feel what is the worst part about setting a boundary. What is the worst of it, literally, the worst part that it feels in your body. And then be like, all right, bitch, I'm going to go dissociate for 3 hours because that was a lot.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to come revisit this.
Onto metaphorical realism, I'm top heavy. So, bitch, when I lean in, I'm all the way in.
Yeah.
Right. It ain't no pulling out. It's like...
Well, then maybe that's a practice.
Okay, how do I do that?
Like taking a step back.
Oh, okay.
Right? So you're saying that when you lean in, it's in. So your practice doesn't sound like it's the leaning in, because a lot of people have the practice with leaning in, because it's like, oh fuck, I don't want to feel that. You're like, bitch, I'm feeling it. Here's the rumination. Here's the intrusive thoughts. I'm gonna just let the motherfucking day spiral. Right. So your practice is not leaning in. It is separated. I need to take a step back. I need to. I don't know what your things are. So that would be the
fair read. My head's high. I feel very seen. I don't want to take a breath. I should know that every time I hang out with you, it's going to be a mini therapy session for me. And it's not because you're trying to read me for real. I think it's really just like reflection. Talk. And it's like you're saying things that just resonate with me. So it just makes me feel very like,
well, can we take a breath together?
Yeah, definitely.
Together.
Yes. That was lovely. And whenever you need it. And whenever y'all need it.
Yeah.
That's the getting centered in our
just feeling it.
Just
yeah.
Does this feel like a good point to do a just the tip?
Yeah.
It does.
Like a good point to do
just the tip. How big is the tip?
Is this money? Is this dick?
This is a fan question,
Okay,
which
cool.
is from someone who says that they are bi, and it is, why was it easier for me to ask a woman to get an STD test versus a man?
Because men get fucking violent when you like. I don't know. I'm bi, so from my experience with women getting STD tests, I feel like it's just like very less judgmental.
Yeah,
and it's just very like, we're getting this shit done, whatever. Like it's never like I don't know. I've never experienced like a bad experience with women in STD tests or whatever. But with men, they just act like they don't. They act like they never had an STD. I don't know.
There
what
are
the
some men
fuck.
who have never had an STD test before.
No. I mean, they act like they have never had an STD or they could never get one, or like they're like immune to that shit.
Yeah.
Like anytime you ask a dude, like, when's the last time you got an STD test? I mean, I only fucked this one. Like, sir, just when was the last time you got it done? Or if it were to, I remember like, I was fucking with this dude and I was going through his text messages. Which I do not recommend. But
talking about boundaries.
Okay.
Right over
That's the last time I saw him as well. But anyway, so I went through one of his threads and then he was like fucking this girl or whatever, and he was fucking her raw and shit like that. And she was like telling him like politely, like she wasn't even saying it in a bad way. She was like, look, something is not right. I'm gonna go get tested. Like, I'm just letting you know because we have been having unprotected sex. And he didn't respond to that. Like, he just left her on red. And I was like, what the fuck? The next message was like, she sent a screenshot of like her results from the doctor. And it was like, oh, you have chlamydia. And she sent this to him. And she was like, hey, just to let you know, my test came out positive. So you need to go get tested.
Yeah.
And he was like, bitch, what the fuck? I've never had an STD before. I don't have one now. And then he has like a baby. He's like, I'm fucking my baby mama too.
And she's got chlamydia too.
She was pregnant.
Oh my God.
While this was happening.
The baby's gonna be
so he was really mad. He was like, if you gave me fucking chlamydia and I'm fucking my baby mama and she's pregnant, I swear to God, like I'm gonna get bitches to beat you up. Like he was really mad. And
that's
I was like,
the masculinity.
You had the
scary shit.
But my thing is like, you had the option to not fuck her raw. That was your number one option right there. And you still decided like this is a risk. You're having unprotected sex. Yeah. A risk with that is STD. So I just feel like I'm not gonna risk it. Like,
yeah,
I'd rather just not fuck you again.
Yeah.
I'm ghosting you. Good luck. I hope you go get tested soon. But I'm not gonna tell you.
Good luck to that baby.
If I were to have one, and no, I'm not telling you. I'll block you and keep it pushing.
Yeah, because there's two things there that you saw. Not only that he is not on top of his sexual health, but also he's not safe to tell things to because he reacted very poorly.
And this was like a year and a half ago. And he didn't tell me he was fucking me raw too. So I was mad as hell. Like, damn, now I gotta go get fucking tested because you didn't even fucking tell me.
Yeah.
And this was like a month ago. I'm like, you didn't even tell me whole time. Like, now I probably got this shit. Like, what the fuck? So it was pissing me off because I'm like, you're not even considered to me, your baby mama, nobody. You just don't give a fuck. So it's just, no, I don't know. I don't trust him.
Yeah. I think it's like what we were said before, like your experience with it shows you that like survey says in the times that I have done this is what has come out of it. So I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel safe. I don't feel like I should do that. Or even if it hasn't happened to you directly, I hear this story. I've heard these stories. I've heard these stories. And it's like, why? I'm terrified. I'm terrified because the facts have shown in my experience, it's fucking scary. So
they don't react well to it.
No.
Yeah. So
I feel like it's vulnerability.
Yes.
I think
that
men
is
don't have attachment to vulnerability.
Yes.
So if a woman is like, I'm worried about my health, I want you to be considerate about your health too. You should go do it. It puts them in a position to have to be fearful of the results. And also, you have to...
stigma.
Yeah, you have to recognize...
The stigma that there is around if you do have an STD, like, it's not something that's like, you just openly tell people like, oh, you know.
Which is why we have an episode called A Little Chlamydia Don't Stop Nothing.
Nothing. It is what it
because
is.
we're trying to normalize that bitches be getting STDs sometimes, and it is what it is, bitch.
Can I tell a story that I've never told anybody before?
Oh,
I love those.
Yes.
When I was 19 years old... But because we're talking about chlamydia, it feels necessary.
Yes.
When I was 19 years old, I was kicking it with a stripper who I just thought I was in love with. I've been normalizing sex work my whole entire life. And he didn't love me how I love that nigga, of course. And he was just in the club fucking every bitch. And I thought that we were serious. He had my little name tattooed on his hand. So I thought that meant something. But it doesn't.
It doesn't
at all. What the fuck?
Exactly. So
Jesus
we're
Christ.
kicking it. We fucking. His homeboy, who also wanted to fuck, ends up like he had dropped him off at my house a couple times, so he knew where I lived. So one day he was like coming down the street, and I was like, "This is very conspicuous. Why are you down my street and your friend's not in the car?" And he was like, "Well, I just want to let you know, like, my homeboy, Fortune,
he name drop on this
in Detroit,
motherfucker.
Michigan, he has chlamydia, and he's been fucking a lot of my friends."
So he had his homeboy tell you?
His homeboy. He didn't have his homeboy tell me.
His homeboy
wanted
was just
to
trying
smash.
to fuck. Yeah.
And so
He was, that's dirty.
Yeah.
the whole spectrum, bitch.
That's
The
a
whole
intense dirty macking for sure.
That's dirty. Yes.
So I went and got tested. I definitely had chlamydia, and I tried to call him and contact him, and he just kind of ghosted the fuck out of me after that. So, and then from that point, I have been very like I know sometimes like if y'all watch my content, I'm very prudish when it comes to men. Like I don't want men touching me. It stems from that experience. I do not trust them. Why would you lie to me? And I'm giving you like everything that I possibly have to give to you in that moment. So it's like. So I had chlamydia, and then
I have also had chlamydia. Shout out to chlamydia.
Shout out chlamydia.
Shout out to chlamydia.
So yes, I think, but also a lot of my life has been like where, like when I first got into sex work, I didn't want to have sex with women because I was like scared. Like, what if I give them something? What if like? And it's like, no, but you've been tested. You don't have nothing. Like even now, even before the Miami trip, I had a panic attack with him. He's like, bitch, we got tested. Everyone went together, and I'm like, I still am not. I'm in a space of like feeling like I have. One, I let myself down. I didn't protect my body. I didn't set a boundary for my body with him because I could have got tested with him prior to because I knew he was a stripper and I didn't do it. So it was like I didn't put that boundary for myself. And then
those are the worst kind of boundaries to break is your own. Like when other people break your boundaries, it's like, all right, well, fuck you. But when you like do some shit for you, like you
and fucking better,
you really feel bad.
And you know better.
So that I continue to carry that with me where it's like I'm in a constant space of just not trusting bodies on my body. I feel like how you feel about the pandemic. It's just like, don't touch my inner parts. Don't touch my heart. Don't touch my coochie. Don't touch my asshole. Like I'm honestly always in that space of feeling like I don't trust myself enough to exchange juices or energy or spirituals. Like sanctimony.
Thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank you.
Yes.
Actually, it was therapy. I had to say it. I've been holding it since I was 19. I'm like 33. So.
Yeah.
Everything happens for a reason. Look at that.
But how was that sharing that?
Good. I needed it.
Yeah.
You all were talking about how you're trying to normalize it, and it's just like, here I am still holding the secret.
Shout out to chlamydia. Again,
we have a whole episode. We have a whole episode named after chlamydia.
We literally
do.
Thank y'all for letting me have that space real quick.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Always. Yeah, and see this, I honestly, so you said the theme of our episodes has been like worry about yourself. Yes. And then like the umbrella theme of our episodes is like fuck men. That is literally the umbrella of
because why? Like why?
Niggas is
and
scary. Niggas got chlamydia.
Right.
Niggas
like,
is
what
violent.
The fuck?
Niggas is cheating.
It's just like
niggas. A problem.
Listen,
continuously.
Well, we on an episode of my podcast was niggas will nigga.
Period. Niggas going nigga for life
every single time.
And I'm done. I'm cool.
65 days
Do
a
your
year,
thing.
24 hours.
Yeah.
8 days a week, bitch.
On holidays.
Yeah.
No vacation days.
No days off.
I'm cool. Yeah. I don't think that even like when I got chlamydia, I didn't tell anybody directly. And I feel like you said on one of our past episodes, like you said something like we're like the ones who would be like calling people out and
right.
Yes. And also I said it's scary because listen, bitch, this is what I did when I found out that I had fucking chlamydia. I used a text app that anonymously texts people, one of your partners recently tested positive. So you should go get tested. I was super fucking, and let me tell you something. One of the dudes, I was fucking so many people at that time, so I sent out so many texts. That was the other thing. It was a little bit embarrassing, bitch, but I was like, whatever, we do what we do. But one of them was literally like a college football player. So then I felt even more dumb because he's was way younger than me and I shouldn't be scared.
Right.
And side note, that's a whole other conversation I would like to have on the podcast is talking about fucking younger guys. So separately.
They're terrible.
I thought in my brain, I feel like I have more like negotiation room with younger niggas because of the age gap.
Yeah.
Like not in a way where I'm trying to be unethical, but in a way where I'm like, I'm trying to actually have some fucking power.
Yeah, I will say that too. Like when I fuck with like younger NFL
you
players, I
like
feel
you
like
have more...
I will literally be talking like about other men in front of them. Like I'll be with my friends on the phone, like, can you believe he did this and that? And the dude, he'll just be sitting there like,
you feel like you have more like negotiation. But like,
I'll be like,
power.
I don't give a fuck. Like, you know what you're here for. Like, shut the fuck up talking to me. Like,
but listen, I was so pussy because even though I felt like, oh, he's younger and I'm running shit, I sent him that little text message too. One of your partners has sent anonymous text message, and that's how I handled it because I was like, bitch, I didn't want to have that kind of situation where I tell somebody and they like go off on me. And actually, one of the was another college player. These are all FIU? All FIU. Anyway.
Or was it UM? You had a UM phase.
Maybe it was UM. It was UM.
Yeah.
It wasn't FIU. It was UM. It was all football players. Oh my God, yes. I love them. Oh, shout out to them. They are so fine. I just love a Florida nigga. There is something about Florida. Okay, anyway.
Tell me about it, girl.
Wow, where was I going with this?
I haven't left.
One of them knew it was you?
No, okay, so one of them, we had a conversation. Okay, so this is so random. I had fucked the dude, right? And then we were like pillow talking, and he said that he had talked to his, like, in the locker room, they were having locker room talk about me, and that they thought that I was trans.
I remember this.
Did I tell you? Okay.
Yes.
And it was a very bizarre conversation because I was like, where did you all get to that? How?
And here you are.
Fucking me. Yeah. So, right.
Here you are. Y'all had that conversation, but you were real curious.
And he was like, well, bitch, I'm going to be the one to find out. And he sure was because he was all up in that pussy. Anyway. So, why would he even tell me that? What the fuck? Okay, anyway. So, he was like, and we thought she was trans. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm not. And he was like, so I guess you just talk about a lot of trans issues. And I was like, correct, exactly. And he said something like, I don't know how we got from trans to STD, but he said something like, if I ever found out that a bitch that I was fucking had an STD, I would beat her the fuck up.
Right, exactly.
And we were like laying next to each other talking about, and he just said that. And he's a big ass football. Again, he's younger than me, but this is still a man. This is still a man who is fit and motherfucking. And I was like, oh, but I'm logging that information as this is not someone who's safe to communicate. So even when that happened, I didn't tell that man either.
Yeah.
We used condoms, so it was fine. But like, I'm not fucking telling you're threatening to beat somebody up for a fucking STD. What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not safe. So it makes total sense that for the person asking, why the experience of asking a woman would be easier than asking a cishet man, because cishet men are fucking violent and scary and and unpredictable. You have no idea how they're going to fucking react and respond to things. Whereas women, it's not like we don't beat each other up, because certainly we do fight, but it's a different kind of a situation. Like it just hits different.
Then all my experiences really with like STD testing has been with sex workers. So I feel like that also makes it like
there's
that extra layer there where it's like, bitch, if you do have something, it's like, it is what it is.
Right.
Just whatever. It's not judgy. It's not like, like, you know what I'm saying? So it is a very different than I feel like women who were not sex workers. I feel like they would be a little bit more like, bitch.
Yeah. Because sex workers, I feel like, are the most on top of their sexual health.
Have to be.
Literally everyone else is not at all, because there are people who have never gotten fucking tested. Whereas sex workers who everyone's like, oh, y'all are such dirty fucking sluts and whores. We're getting tested before every partner, before every scene or whatever. So it's like, first of all, bitch, what the fuck? Man.
But we also have more at stake. It'll end our career. We'll be ostracized from our community.
Correct.
Yeah. Whereas as if someone in just like the normal vanilla world, if they had an STD, it's like there's not a whole entire society who is going to be like, why are you not being more safe? Why are you not? We are trained to be vulnerable with our partners. Like, and that's just not something that we practice in our everyday relationship.
And also, if you get tested through like talent testing, they ask, I think, or either require, one of the two, if you want to send your results to PASS, which is a system where everyone can see your results. So there's also this thing where it's like, and I think it's good for like a community accountability, because it's like, I actually can't lie. You will be able to check and see, which I think is a good thing. And again, for reducing stigma, it should be. But that doesn't exist for non-sex workers. Like we actually they just
go to a fucking clinic
and get their shot and they be done with it. Yeah,
like,
but like we actually have you gonna know. Yeah, like my chlamydia result is on PASS, bitch. Right. If anyone ever looked at like PASS
they're
results,
gonna see that chlamydia, I had that shit.
On there. There it is. Boom.
Right.
Again, shout out to chlamydia. Let's do one more. Just the tip.
What we got?
Let me see where it was. Oh, what is the difference between the real you versus the sex work you?
Yeah, I am actively trying to not have a difference.
Period.
I am like really trying to not have a difference and to, in the conversations we had, like create content that we want to see.
Yeah.
That we, that we want to be a part of and things like that. So I am really trying to not have a difference. But
yes,
there is a difference because the real me, the regular me wouldn't be as talkative. Like, I mean, not talkative, but as far as like sexually, I'm not very talkative. Like moaning noises, things like that. Like, I don't do all that.
Yeah, we're gonna do a titty worship video today. You're gonna have to talk.
Like, and for work, absolutely. Like, I got that. But like normal
personal life
is like, that's not happening. And the more like dominant, like we're doing the titty worship video. Like, I'm not that person in my real life. Like, I'm not dominant. I dominate me, please. Like, I like to be, I don't like to be in control of those types of situations.
Yeah.
That's like probably the biggest difference is that like it's acting. Like I am acting
performing
for the most part, but the orgasms are real.
Okay, good for you.
And the things that I do are real, like they
you shoot with your partner.
Yeah, I shoot with my partner also, so that super helps.
Yeah,
but most of it's by myself too.
Yeah,
but yeah. So I'm really actively trying to not have a separation.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm the same way. Like I feel like when I like record content, which is I mostly do solo content, but I feel like majority of my content, I come out very like dominant, and in my actual sex life, I'm not at all. Like I'm the type of bitch you could throw like against the wall and that's fine. Like like I'm not a dominant person at all in like my real personal sexual life, and I don't like to be. Like
I feel like that's a conversation for another day, which is why do we lean towards being submissive? But yes,
I don't know.
I think it's because I would also agree. Like I'm pretty much a dom on my cam life. Well, with most people, I'm very dominant in my sexual relationships. But in my relationship, I tend to be very submissive, but it's because I feel safe. It's like the idea, I suppose, of like I don't know, you're the deserving versus what you feel they deserve. So the people who I'm performing with on camera, you haven't earned me yet, bitch. You don't get none of my none of my vulnerability. I'm not sharing it. So, but then when it comes to like someone who I trust or someone who's in my space, it's like I'm comfortable being like more vulnerable. I feel like they've earned that part of me. I trust something in you to give that to you. But yeah, I would. If I have a difference, it's probably I'm more submissive when it comes to girl-boy play. But when it comes to like girl play, I'm still pretty dominant. But it's mostly because women prefer to be submissive. So it's like
I feel very similar. So.
I don't. It's almost like I don't really have a choice because then it's like we're both just like
gonna be sitting there.
Like bitches, we fucking or not? I guess I gotta take the motherfucking lead.
Even when even in my personal life, when I fucked with women and I've had sex with women in my personal life, I'm still submissive. Like I'm not the dominant. I'm the bitch that you gotta come up to and like like.
And you're a femme, which makes it even harder because it's like, bitch, are you even gay? I don't know.
Right,
are we flirting or are you just like my shirt or what are we doing?
I'm the bitch that you still have to be like hella dominant with, or we're not. We're just gonna be sitting there like just staring
talking
at each
about
other.
nails and shit.
Right, exactly.
No, that's me too. That's very much me, and it's just like. It's just, I don't know. It's just what I like, I think, too. Because I think it's not that I haven't tried to be the other way. You know what I mean? I didn't get results that pleased me the same way. So I don't know.
Yeah. Fucking lesbians and like girl sex is just sometimes what a fucking nightmare because I was the girl who did my hair. I was literally telling her like part of the reason why I braid my hair before shoots with girls is because it helps me feel more masculine.
Yeah.
Because I know that when I come into the space with the bitches, I gotta put the strap on.
Yeah. Exactly.
I'm not the one getting strapped. I gotta put the strap on. So I gotta be in the space where I'm like, but I think I have always been more dominant with women in general, period, ever. Like I was the one at the fucking sleepover,
eating the
school,
pussy,
being like, so is we kissing or not? Right. Like, what are we doing? I'm trying to eat some coochie tonight.
And see, we try? I was the girl that was like, I mean,
okay,
if you want to, we go to the closet and
you know what? Each role is important,
absolutely.
So that's fine too.
Yeah. I was the bitch who was acting like I wasn't trying to fuck with women, but then it was like, bitch, yeah, exactly. That was me. Like,
I think I'm like that with any partner. Like, I like to be wanted. Like, that is my thing, to be wanted and to be chased and to be, you know, like, desired. So, like, if I don't have to do, and also, listen, I'm a lazy lover.
Hello, princess.
I love it.
I was gonna say that too. Like, in my content, I'm writing dildos, doing all types of shit. In real life, bitch, catch me suck a dick in real life.
Yeah.
Not happening. I do not suck dick. When I tell you I rarely suck dick in my personal life,
for you.
I do not.
See, that's good feminist practice.
I do not suck dick in my real life. I'm barely, you want me to write dick, I give you a good 30 seconds. All right, back doggy or I'm back missionary. I'm not doing all this motherfucking work.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So I need you to do it all. Just do it all. And I
like to be wanted too, but I feel like with men specifically, like the way I conceptualize being wanted is like I get to seduce you. And the thing is, niggas is easy, so they're already gonna fuck. But like I like to play games and like do a seduction thing and like, yes, bitch, I'm powerful and whatever. So I want to be wanted too, but I still want some sense of power. So I don't really think that I naturally am submissive with men. I think that that's like a learned behavior that I just was like, this is what you do, so this is what I'm supposed to do. And it's only now, in like the last like couple of years, and specifically now, that I have even thought about like what it would look like to be intimate with a dude and not be submissive in any capacity, because I don't really think that that's what I want. But also that has just been what it's been. So it's like habit, and what's familiar always feels safer. So it's like, but it is fun. And with that said, to practice and like play with women of like taking back power and like, nah, I'm going to tell you, this is what, and figuring out what like my style of that is. Cause I'm really not like an aggressive ass bitch. I think I'm still like a gentle top and like caring and shit. I'm not like, I'm not. Like fucking Mystique was like, call me a bitch. I was like, no. You're so pretty.
Right.
Take my dick.
Yeah.
That's
she
the perspective.
Trusts women to slut her out. Like, it's not a behavior she performs with men, but she wants bad bitches to make her feel weak. Like, she will do anything for a bad bitch. Like,
see, that's not my style.
Well, when it is your style, you know who to call.
But I feel like in terms of real me versus sex work me, that there's also not much distinction. I pretty much am the same person, and that has been a very intentional like building over the past many years. And really, I guess since I graduated from grad school, it was really in grad school that I was like, I'm not going to talk about being a sex worker in school because I was too scared. My school was a Catholic private school. Both of the colleges I went to, actually, which is not intentional. I don't know how I ended up there because I'm not Catholic. But yeah, I was like, I know it's not safe and I want to make sure I get this fucking degree. But once, like the day that I fucking graduated, it was like things are integrating. Yeah, I even posted like me in a stripper outfit and me in my grad outfit.
Yeah,
and I was like, this is the beginning of I'm no longer separating this, which also goes into, I think we talked about in an earlier episode, like showing up in terms of blackness. Like, I am a black sex worker wherever the fuck I go. So if you're doing business with me, you know that that's what the fuck it is, and I'm not going to tone that down. So like when I meet with people to do any kind of business, I'm going to be talking about being a fucking slut. I'm going to curse. I might show up in my bonnet, bitch. Like, so I try my best to keep all of those things integrated, and also recognize that that's a big privilege, because like my family, for instance, doesn't give a fuck that I suck dick for money, and a lot of people's families do, and it's not as easy as being like, just tell them. No, what the fuck? Like, a lot of people just actually cannot ever tell them.
Right.
So I recognize that it's a privilege, and I don't fucking separate that shit. And I have found that it has been very helpful for other people. Like, I have a lot of people tell me, you were like my introduction to sex work, and also you were, as a sex worker, you were what reminded me that I can be both all at once, all the time, and I don't have to separate. I can be a this and a that at the same time. So I'm glad that I made the decision to do that. I'm glad that I had the environment to be able to do that and allowed me to do that. And I'm glad that it's been like helpful for people in some capacity, because yeah, I'm sucking dick and then I want to talk about therapy and I'm doing coke I'm giving people Coke Molly nails and then I'm running a fucking nonprofit, bitch. I'm doing all of it.
Because we all exist.
All at once.
Yeah, exactly.
It's possible.
I will say that me personally, I'm in a space right now where I don't know how the fuck I want to go about the fact that I am like a sex worker in real life because I recently got assaulted in the club because of this shit. And it was very scary. And it was very like, I don't know. I don't want to cry. But it was just like I want to be able to like say like, this is me and I'm proud and whatever. But like, I just had a very scary experience because of it. And I know that it is because they, like, you know, when people think you're a sex worker, they think that you have, like, no boundaries. And they think that you are just fucking everybody and doing all this shit. And so, like, being around, and it was embarrassing because it's like I'm around a group of people and no one did anything to help me. No one did anything, you know, to show up for me. And so it was like I was alone by myself.
Yeah.
And this very scary thing happened. And I was like, ever since then, I've kind of been like, especially like on my Instagram, I've been very like not posting about OnlyFans, not posting about sex work because I'm just like, I don't know if I feel comfortable right now.
Yeah.
After it, because this happened like a month ago. So I just don't know if I feel comfortable right now, like actually like showing that side of myself anymore. After that.
Fair enough, because that is scary and fucked up. I'm sorry that happened.
It was fucked up.
Is there any kind of specific support or anything that you need from us right now as you talk about it?
No, I'm kind of just like, I'm a little like, I guess not over it, but it's like, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like it happened, but I'm just trying to figure out like, how is the best way? Because I don't want to hide it because I'm not ashamed of it. But I also don't want it to become a thing because like, I don't have a community of, you know, like when I'm out in my city in Chicago, I don't have sex worker friends.
Yeah.
I don't hang out with sex workers out there. I hang out with civilian people.
Yeah.
They don't understand sex work. They don't understand any of this shit. I talk to my friends about it that I do have out there, but they don't experience the same things I do. So they can't relate. So they listen to me, but they don't understand the shit that I, you know, actually go through every day. And so when I'm out there, I'm literally by myself with all these things. And it's like, you know, it's very different. Like, cause like here, like, I'm going to like, for example, like I'm going to go out today, but I'm going to go out with all sex. So I know like I'm safe. I can be myself. I can talk about these things and act like a hoe and, you know, shake my ass and do all this shit or whatever. But out there, it's like, I can't do those same things. Like I have to move very differently. And it's just one of the reasons why I want to move, because it's like, I don't even feel like I can actually be myself and actually like enjoy myself when I'm outside in Chicago. Cause it's like, I don't have a community out there at all. I'm by myself.
Yeah.
So it's like,
yeah, you deserve to be around people who are going to support you and help protect you. And also you deserve to be safe in your body and not be assaulted for your identity. So fuck that person. And if we ever see them, please let us know so that we can literally jump them because fuck them.
Yeah. Period. End the episode. Murder them.
Thank you for sharing that too.
Seriously.
Yeah, it was fucked up. It was so like goofy because it's like this guy that I went to college with. And so the thing is, it's like, I feel like all these people that I went to like high school and college with before I became a sex worker, they like wanted to like fuck me, right? And so like they were trying to fuck me in like high school, they're trying to fuck me in college, and they didn't get the chance to. And so now that they know that I'm a sex worker, they think that now they can do it, or they can like talk to me disrespectfully, or like just say rude ass shit to me, or just come at me really fucking wild because I'm out now, right? And so this guy that I went to college with, like we were friends on Snapchat. So I'm still like friends with a lot of them on Snapchat. And he just like, I posted a selfie and he responded and he was like, "You look good." And I didn't say anything because I don't feel the need to fucking respond to every single man that says something to me. Like, I'm not going to say thank you. Like, I don't give a fuck who you are, like whatever. So I didn't respond. And so he responded. He was like, "Bitches do a porn and all of a sudden they think they're all that," or something like that. And he blocked me. So I couldn't even respond to him.
No, you're just not entitled to my body.
And I was like, why do you feel like I think I'm all that, number one? Because I do. That's not, I don't feel like I am at all.
Exactly.
I don't feel that
you
way.
saw me naked and now you think I owe you something.
Exactly. Like, I don't,
and he thinks you're a bad bitch and it's like, oh, I want access to that.
Exactly. So I and fucking or was fucking. After that shit happened, I don't speak to him anymore. I was fucking one of his homeboys, but I didn't know they were friends.
Mm.
And I got invited out to like this birthday party at this like little bar or whatever like that. And I went to the guy who I was fucking section, and he was there.
Yeah.
The guy who said that shit to me on Snapchat. And so the whole night he was acting like he did not know who I was. And I wasn't saying anything to him either, because I'm like, I know who you are. And I know if I was drinking, I'm like, I know I'm going to end up cursing you out or something, like,
of course,
whatever. So we get in the car, we're on our way to the club, and he's sitting next to me. And he's like, oh, you're Yvette, like my real name. Oh, you're Yvette, right? And I looked at him and I'm like, you know I'm Yvette. Like,
right.
you know who the fuck I am. Like, stop acting like you don't know who I am.
Right.
He was like, well, I'm proud of you. I see what you're doing. And I was like, I didn't even say anything to him. And I just looked at him and I was like, thanks. Like, you just cursed me out.
Right.
Because I didn't say thank you to you, but whatever. So we're in the club. It's like we're in a whole group. I'm by myself because I'm with the guy who I was fucking. So I thought I was safe because I'm fucking this man. So I'm thinking like I'm going to be good or whatever when I'm with him. So we're in the section and shit like that. And like, he's like standing up next to me and I'm pouring myself a drink. And out of nowhere, like I just feel a hand go like, he's like trying to grab my butt. But he literally went all the way under and like touched my pussy.
Yeah.
And my reaction was instantly just like, grab his face and like push it to the fuck. I was going to like smash his fucking face off.
Yeah.
And so he got up and he tried to swing on me and hit me because I reacted to it.
Mm-hmm.
So they separated us. And the guy who I was fucking was like, you need to chill out. That's been my friends for 10 years. And I'm like, I'm fucking you.
Yeah.
Your homie just violated me in the club.
Right.
And you're just going to let this shit happen. Not say anything to him, not check him, nothing. And his homie is laughing. Like, he thinks it's fucking hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, that's what OnlyFans bitches get. That's exactly what he said to me. And so when he said that shit, I grabbed the fucking bottle and I fucking like smashed it in his fucking face and I walked the fuck out. They kicked me out the fucking club. I'm never welcome to that club again.
Right.
But it was just so fucking like, that's why like, I'm just like, I don't know, like, right now, I'm like taking a big break from like even like posting on my OnlyFans.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm on my Instagram about OnlyFans because I just because all these people that know me in real life follow me on there, and I know that I'm gonna see them. I know that I'm gonna be by myself.
Yeah, it's not safe.
So it's like,
like building, like chosen family is just so important. Like and stepping away from, because like y'all know I struggle with the having all civilian friends and
it's hard,
and then only getting a
all
chance
my friends
to come
are civilian friends,
and like I have never, you know, thank God I've been lucky enough to never have to deal with anything like that, but just the experience of not even being able to talk, like you say, you can talk about it but you don't feel the reciprocation of the love, of the understanding, like you don't get that. And until you come here and you just in this space of chosen family where I can feel very comfortable and feel 100% myself at all the times and don't have to ever feel like I have to pretend or be anything that I am not actually, because I chose to have these people around me. And it's so hard. It's so hard to, because you care about those people. It's not that you don't care about those other people, and it's not that you don't, you know, love them or have the love for them, but it's just like, I can't show up for myself in this space. So I have to like do what I have to do to protect my peace. Like,
which is in part why I'm glad that we even do power shoots, because part of the goal of the power shoot is not only to make content and make money, but it's also to community build and to create different kinds of sex workspaces too. Because even within the sex industry, there's still spaces that aren't safe. Like I know my first 2 power shoots was with all white girls, and I was like, nah, bitch, this is not it. Right. So the intentional space of building this. So I hope that we can create some space for you to feel supported this weekend and know that you are loved and protected and safe and supported.
100%.
I always feel safe around you guys.
Always. Always.
Sure.
That's what the photographer was saying too, because she was like, everyone that all the sex workers that she's come into contact with are the purest people that she's met out of anybody. And I was telling my partner that because she has anxiety really bad. And so being here with a group of people
support, bitch.
that she doesn't know, she was
you need to be amped up, bitch. We will have a circle where we literally put you in the center and say, you are a beautiful, badass bitch.
I'm telling you, because from when we were on the boat, you and I, Gaia, we barely even exchanged words, you know, like in Miami, but the knowing of like, we're here and you felt that from all of us being around. And I was telling Chris, I'm like, I'm telling you, you got this. And the first night she was like, she had to go to the bathroom or something. We were in the room. She's naked. She has no problem walking across the hall. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, look at you just feeling good, you know, like feeling like yourself, feeling comfortable enough to do that with people you just met today. You know what I mean? And it's like, you all create that space to feel that safe. And this is why I was just so hyped to just be out here and be in these energies, because you know we feed off energy, and it's like we need that around us. Like we do. It's just, I love you.
Shout out to sex workers.
Okay.
Shout out to building safer spaces, and shout out to chosen family.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Word.
I need all my scammer niggas, bring that cash.